Hey guys, and welcome to Zeus and Poseidon. And I've never done a Let's Play for this in a long time because I never actually had the game until about a year ago when I bought it. I never got into it, but recently I decided to get into it. And I thought the best way to start off with this game is to do a bit of a tutorial really for it. So I'm going to go through the Zeus tutorial stuff, so let's just go ahead and create my leader. And ask questions in chat at all times if you want to ask me anything, because there is a lot that's changed in the Zeus platform. It's a lot different to what like Caesar, Pharaoh and Emperor. Emperor is like refining Zeus, the Zeus engine, to be more like Pharaoh almost. So tutorials. I'm not going to go through all these tutorials, by the way. I'm only going to go through a few of them, simply because the first 4 or so, they're fairly basic. You just provide those ones. I don't really need to go through them. I want to go through the advanced tutorials and the latter, the beginning ones, because there's a couple of things in the beginning tutorials that are different. I don't want to go through the housing, this stuff here, because this is just fairly basic, just like any other game. I want to start with goods for housing, so let's go straight into it. Okay, so in the tutorials you get pre-built cities essentially and explanations in that, and what also you get is basically told how to build things. So in Zeus, well, let's kind of start again. In like Caesar 3 and Pharaoh, you had meadowland to plant farms on, and of course all the resources were provided to you there on the map, so you only had what was there on the map or what you could import from other cities. Zeus does something slightly different. One of the goods that common housing requires to evolve, because in Zeus it separates the common and elite housing. It wasn't like Pharaoh where when you've gone past and gave them luxury goods, that would be them evolved to luxury housing. So Zeus split them up. This is where it split up. This is where the whole thing in Emperor came from, obviously. But something that Zeus does is that it makes a slight change to one of the goods that you need. One of them is fleece, and unlike in most games in the series, the resource for fleece is not actually on the map. What you actually have to do is you place carding sheds for them, which sends out shepherds. So if I just place a few like this, you actually have to play God mode to spam out the number of sheep you need, okay? And it does cost money. So what it does is it goes to send out the shepherds who tend to the sheep, and they hold the fleece here and then they're put into a warehouse. You can actually get a hell of a lot of fleece from say about 4 or 5 carding sheds. So I say usually about 2 to 3 carding sheds for a small city and about 5 to 6 for a moderately sized city. You never need to go above 6,000 most of the time. The largest city that I've ever built in the game is about 7,000. Natty Boy says it's his birthday. Happy birthday to you. So the way it works is essentially you place down a carding shed and you put out some sheep. You have to play God mode with it. The number of sheep you're allowed to place is dependent on the number of carding sheds. So one carding shed gives you, I think it's about somewhere about 10, I can't remember. You do have to replenish the sheep though, because something happens in the advanced tutorial which I'll explain later. I don't want to go into too much detail about it here. So one major change I will say about Zeus is that there's no water table. Everywhere is waterable, okay? And you have the meadowland. This was the last game that did the meadowland stuff, but it uses it in a different way. Most of the time your meadowland, there's usually about 2 areas of meadowland on most maps. On the tutorial one it's only this little area up here. But for the most part that's that. So the same happens for sheep. You have to put down dairies and place down goats, and there's one also for, I believe, what game? The Poseidon expansion. There's cows you have to place down, so the corals and the cattle. Same idea, you have to place it on. As long as you place them on one tile of meadowland, that's all that matters. So you could spam up the whole area, and as long as one tile is free to place down sheep, that's fine. That's all you need. So it's a fairly abusable aspect to some maps which are pretty small. So we'll just go to the tutorial. And basically, place a carding shed next to a road in your neighbourhood to select the husbandry tab, etc. Yeah, purple tufts identifies Meadowland, basically. A lot of campaign missions tend to have Meadowland on them, so don't worry. And of course you can stockpile and distribute with Agoras. So in like Caesar Free and Fair you had your markets and your bazaars. In Zeus it changes it to the Agora, which is obviously a market square in Emperor. So you'll be able to draw parallels between this and Emperor. So if you've played Emperor, a lot of this should be familiar to you apart from some things. So you just had to place down the Agora. So the Agoras are under distribution. And you place a common Agora for common housing. You never ever have to need to place grand Agoras for common housing. You never need to. Because it's not like in Emperor where you would have to place a grand Agora, well, a grand market square in that one, to provide more to the people in some maps. So it's not too big of a deal. These things can produce far more than enough for these cod blocks. I don't use L-shaped blocks like this on my playthroughs. I've just used square, well, rectangular ones, which have been more than enough. I'll explain more when we do the Let's Play for it, which I think will start next year. Probably in January. I might not be able to finish it all then, but I might finish it on later. So that's just done with this tutorial. Let's go to the next one. Making olive oil. Now the tutorial for making olive oil applies to wine as well. Basically, like in Pharaoh and that, what you did is you placed a farm down and it would build and it would grow the raw material, and then it would go to a workshop and then it would be used by the people. Zeus changes it. Instead of building pre-placed farm buildings, you do get wheat fields, wheat farms, carrot farms and onion farms on most maps. Wheat mostly. What Zeus does is you place down a grower's lodge, which basically applies to wine and olive oil, and then you place down the olive trees, and it's just like with sheep, you have to place them on the meadowland. So basically you just drag out like a square and it'll thingy. And unlike sheep, this is not limited to the number of growers lodges you have. Of course, if one grower's lodge is trying to do a huge big plantation, it's probably not going to work. You will need to provide more growers lodges. So I usually, on most maps, I tend to use about 2 or 3 of these. 4 at the most if I'm really struggling with stuff. But usually this is more than enough. And I usually use about 5 or 6 workshops. So there you go. That's a simplistic idea of it all. So I haven't mentioned, houses, the 3 goods that they need are food, fleece and olive oil. That's all they need to evolve for the items that they need from Agoras. They do need access to cultural buildings, which in this case is colleges and podiums and gymnasiums, and there's also another one that you have to provide, which is either drama access or access to a stadium, which I will explain later. So that's that tutorial. I hope I've explained it. If I'm not explaining it well, just ask in comments, okay? And we're not going to do that, so let's just come out of this. So basically the way this works is quite complex. I will, when I do the Let's Play, I will explain this a lot more, okay? So we're going to go on to the advanced tutorials now. So this just explains the basics of the actual game. The beginning tutorials were just more like the generic city builders, and apart from the last 2, you don't really need to bother about the beginning tutorials unless you've never played Pharaoh, Caesar, Free or Emperor. Let's get into the advanced tutorials of our playing Zeus, and I'm going to go through them all, by the way. So, welcome to the first advanced tutorial for Zeus. If you've completed the beginning tutorials or played one of our city building games before, this is a good place to start. In this tutorial, have some fun. We'll become familiar with the interface, which is more like Emperor's one, really. And I am using the widescreen hack, of course. This is just the usual stuff, just understand the interface, really. Okay, so one thing I will say, sculpture is one of the most expensive exports in the game, okay? It sells for 640 drachma, right? So it is very expensive. So if you sell that, then you've got no worries at all about making money. So let's just have I can't look at the world map, but the trading works more like in Emperor, where you have trading posts and trading keys, in this case piers, okay? So as you can see, I'm making tons of money from selling sculpture. So for the most part, Sculpture is the most OP item in the game. Luckily, it's not always available to sell, because usually there's some restriction that prevents you selling it. It's like you might have to import bronze, or you might not even be able to sell it even if you can produce sculpture. Now on this map, obviously we're producing a little bit of fish, and we're providing cheese, okay? Cheese can be exported, and I sometimes use that as an export in some missions, not often, but the one thing that Zeus doesn't do is, in Pharaoh, what you used to be able to do is you could put things into storage jars. Any food item, literally any item you produced, could go into storage jars there and then. Same with food. So you used to, one of the techniques that I used to use was to put food into a storage jar because it meant that they always came off the floodplain, they wouldn't drown. And then I would use getting granules. That's not necessary on Zeus apart from wheat. Apart from wheat, that's the only thing you need to put in a warehouse for taking on to, well, it's a storehouse over here. That's the only thing you need to put into warehouses to then take to with getting, okay? Because fish and cheese don't go into there. And Mantineer needs marble, which we're already producing. Yeah, marble is basically one of the quarryable items. Hang on a sec. I'm just going to take a short break, just a short pause. I'll edit this out, don't worry. I just need to just come off the microphone for a bit, so I'll be back in a sec, folks. Sorry about that interruption, folks. The person that I said on Twitter who was going to be turning up just turned up there. Okay, so what was I talking about? I was talking about the fact that quarries basically are like the raw material. It's not like stone in Emperor, it's that kind of thing. So Mantineer wants stone. Now, one thing that I like about Zeus is that it goes to what Emperor did, obviously, afterwards. In Zeus, it took away that whole labourer guy. You know, like in Pharaoh and Caesar Free and Pharaoh, you had to put housing within near the industries for them to get staffed. Zeus took that away, so there's none of that roaming walker shit. So basically, this housing can be disconnected from here. Oh, earthquake. Yeah, you do get earthquake events in Zeus. Usually not that bad, really, to be honest with you. I mean, it's usually a fairly simple event, so we'll just speed this up. It destroyed that building, but it doesn't matter. Now, the earthquakes can be bridged over. If you go to... Oh, I don't think you can go, no, you can't go to administration, but you can bridge over these cracks. They can fill with lava. But hang on a sec. Just up to my timer there. Okay. So you can have basically you can have this filled in with lava, and it's unusable. Basically, it does happen once, if I remember. The lava event does happen once, but no, twice. Sorry, it happens twice. There's the marble already. Now the thing I like about Zeus is that you can see just here what events are happening. So if you can't remember what your last event was, just look here, or you can go to the messages and all that. And you get an overview, so you get a little mini-map. Now the one thing I do not like about Zeus is the fact that the mini-map is not always visible. You either have to go to the overview to see it, or you have to click up here to see the mini-map outside of these tabs. It's kind of annoying, so most of the time I won't use that button. It's annoying. There's a tab to switch between it and all that, but that doesn't matter. So anyway, we're going to go on to the next tutorial, which is trade. So yearly profit of 500. So basically we don't have the sculpture industry. So we're going to import bronze from Mantineer and then sell sculpture to Cyprus. Now we've seen how it works in the previous tutorial there, but here we don't have it. So what we need to do is go ahead and place down the trading posts. Now the trading posts are always in the distribution tab. So up here, and then Mantineer. Now I'm just going to place this higgledy-piggledy now. For one, I will start off by saying that the difficulty I will play, the Let's Play on, will be on Titan, which is hard difficulty. In the tutorial, you can't force it to be anything other than beginner. It will reset itself every time, so don't bother. So I'm going to put down a storehouse here for... No, hang on, I'm just going to undo that. It's set to sculpture. Now sculpture, you can only put 8 sculpture in a storehouse because one sculpture takes up 4 little blocks basically, so that's why it's 8. And we're going to go ahead and import bronze. I'll just set this to 8. And we'll go ahead and put down the industry, sculpture studio. So put down 1, 2, 3, and we'll say 4. Okay. Now, of course, we could import olives as well. I don't think we need to do that. We might do, actually. I don't think it's a big deal. We can just set up the wage rate. The one thing that I do in the game is, whenever necessary, I try to pay higher wage rates to reduce the amount of unemployed. So usually, sometimes I'll come across times when I don't have enough housing and I don't have the space to put more. I will raise wage rates, which helps. I don't usually play around with taxation settings. I usually just leave that at normal, because I think in one mission I was able to make about 500,000 drachma or something. That was a later campaign, but it doesn't matter. Now, you will wonder how you get desirability up. I will mention about that later, because that's not important, but for the most part you have parks, which are like gardens, okay? Recreational areas, I generally don't bother with them. The recreational areas I found generally do not really give you that much desirability. Now, in the tutorial, there is a lot of things that are that I don't do. So don't worry about things I do in the tutorial. The tutorial I'm just doing just to show you the mechanics of the game. So we'll just speed this up and make some sculpture. I won't sell the sculpture yet. I want to make a big bulk of it just to do it in one go. So I'll sell off all the sculpture at once, which is easier. I think once this store yard here is filled, that will be that. Yeah, we'll go ahead and sell the sculpture now. And you can sell it to 15 sculpture in one pair. Usually you can't sell that much anyway, so it doesn't matter. So sell off all the sculpture. So as you can see here, now what I tend to recommend doing is making sure that your carding sheds or your goat, your dairy stuff, is all very close to your meadowland, as it says in the tutorial, because that's easier. So we'll just start selling off all this sculpture, hopefully. Here comes the trading ship, who's going to buy up 11 sculpture, basically. There you go, made money. That's all you have to do. Now these goals tend to update at the end of a month, so you won't see anything change yet, not until I speed it up a bit. So of course, if you've got any questions, just ask. I don't have any viewers at the moment, apparently, according to YouTube, so if you do have questions, just ask in chat and I will read them out, or try to answer them as best as I can. Alright, the profit goal usually ends at the end of the year. The year that it counts seems to vary per mission. I think it depends on whether it's a continuation mission or not. So I'll just keep this running on max speed because it's not important. There you go, as you can see, we made a profit of 4,364 drachmas, which is quite a lot. So we'll just proceed on to the next tutorial. So the palace. The palace has a lot more function in this game than it did in the previous game. So we just slow down. Okay, so in Caesar 3 you had the Senate, which was basically a palace, and all it really did was told you what the basic ratings and used up employment, and it also allowed you to build forums, so tax collectors. In Pharaoh it basically did the same thing. The only addition was that it was allowed you could mine gold and they would go there. Other than that, the palace didn't really do anything. The palace in this game actually has a lot more use. So when you place a palace, hang on. So go to administration. The palace is needed to have a military, and in Emperor it does similar. So and of course you need it for tax collection. So we just place a tax collector just here and here. So these little flags are your military, and I will talk about the military later in the military tutorial. Well, there is an invasion, so I might as well talk about it here. In Zeus, you don't have a standing military, okay? There is no concept of military in the Greek world, okay? So in Caesar 3, Pharaoh and Emperor, you built forts and you had a standing army to deal with invasions. Zeus does it differently. instead what you do is you have your townspeople as rabble. Basically they threw rocks at the enemy, okay? You do get some sort of an army later when you build elite housing. Once you get up to certain levels, you get hoplites or spearmen in Poseidon. And later you get horsemen when involved to the estate. So your housing is basically your army. So the bigger your city is, the more army you have. The only problem is that once your rabble is out on the field, you don't have them as workers. So you do suffer severe employment issues while you're fighting battles. So basically we'll just select, so this is one thing you can do, select one flag and then drag a bandbox across, and then you can move all the flags at once like this. So we can tell them to rotate, muster tells them to come out to location, defensive means that they'll stand their ground and not move to attack, offensive means they will go try to attack, and special tactics I don't know what that does really. I tried it once but it doesn't work. Now, I believe there's a button, yes. Go to your military tab. There's this button here that says military is under your personal control. If you click this button, the game does it by itself. So if we just click that, it'll automatically go to locations. So if I just put that in the back. So every little square around here is basically your army. So we'll just speed this up, so just to demonstrate this. So the military will automatically be defended. Now, for the most part, this will put them in the location the game expects the invasion to come from. It's not always accurate. Sometimes it's done that, and the invasion's not came from there. Okay, so be aware of that. Apparently, we still don't have any viewers, so I'm probably talking to no one at all. But if you are out there, please speak. So just speed this up. This will go up as a VOD anyway, so it's not a big deal. So if we look at our employment, we've got 27% unemployed, so that's okay. So we're still selling our sculpture. So I did mention that in each of the tutorial maps, the city resets to the way it's meant to be for that tutorial, so don't worry too much about it here. So yeah, for the most part, there is no water table, there's no concept of such. And anywhere is basically waterable. I think it is a bit kind of cheap because then it means you can build your city in any way you want, but don't worry about it. I don't build blocks like this, by the way. I don't build blocks the way that they are built in the tutorial. I'll develop my own style and I'll show you in the Let's Play itself where we go to do the first campaign, which is Zeus and Europa. So don't worry. Let's speed this up a bit. Okay, so as you can see, Nemea is launching an invasion and your well-trained commanders are ready and will handle all the tactical decisions for you. So as you can see, they come out. Now that's caused us to have some employment issues, sorry. So we'll raise this to very high. It just boosts everything so everything will collapse while our soldiers are out there taking the flak. So as you can see, the game's put the flag straight out here and mustered them for us. Now generally I don't like that because it's kind of annoying at times. I prefer to have hand control over what people do. So the invasion's going to come up from here. There's some metal land there, nice. So just speed this up. Now you can't surrender, it's pointless. We're going to fight to defend the city simply to showcase how this works. So let's use offensive tactics. That's not working for some reason. Oh, that's fine, yeah. When your citizens are under the control of the game, you can't set tactics off, so just take that off. And allow them to attack with stones like this. Now this will probably go fairly well. There we go, the invasion force has been defeated. Now the one thing that happens when you defeat invasions is you get little monuments like this. No, you're going to stop attacking, oops, and go home. Okay, so when you do certain things well, so when you reach population targets, you you conquer cities and all that kind of stuff. Everything has what are called commemorative monuments. So if you place these, they do a hell of a lot of boosting to desirability. So if you're struggling with desirability, simply place one of these down somewhere and you'll have absolutely no problem at all getting the desirability up. So in my elite blocks I always use 2 of these and that's enough at Titan level. Probably at Olympian level you would be fine with that. So I'm not going to hang around here too much because that's just done. with this tutorial, so let's just go to the next one. Warrior, so here we go. I'll just talk about it in this part, and then in the next part we'll go on to do more tutorial, okay? So in this tutorial you're going to learn how to create and command the most advanced types of fighting by well-to-do citizens who can afford their own armour, live in much finer housing than the rabble, and fight as foot soldiers called hoplites. Obviously if you get them up to estates, they will be able to build horsemen, which is a bit more annoying, but I'll talk about that later. So basically the game's put out this little elite book. I don't tend to do this, I tend to do Corinthian columns in more of a loop kind of a thing, so more in proper blocks. So let's go ahead and put down the elite housing. Everything's planned out for us, so we don't need to do anything. But as I say, I don't tend to build it this way. So the elite housing, they'll come in. And the one thing, as I just said earlier, you don't need to build grand agoras for common housing. You don't need to. They're designed specifically only for elite housing. It's only an emperor where you might need to use a larger one for common housing. So all we need to put down is the arms vendor. So the reason why the common agora is fine for here, and you don't need a grand agora, is because on these agoras you're only allowed to build one of each of the vendors. Unlike in Emperor where you could build multiple vendors on market squares, that's fine, and it was necessary there. Hey to Daredevil Duties watching the stream. So that's basically how it works. Now the way it works is that these vendors will buy 4 armour, and then it will be distributed. Once it's all gone, then they'll go and get more. Once an elite house has exactly 4 armour, they will never suck up anymore. That'll be 4 hoplites. So 1 armour equals 1 hoplite. So elite housing can hold up to, I believe, 8 hoplites maximum, and that's it. It won't hold any more. And of course we've got stability issues here, it doesn't matter. So you can get up to higher levels, but it's not important right now. So an elite house, if not evolved up to the top level of a state, so it's mansion I think, I can't remember. Actually, let's just find out. Yeah, manor, sorry. They will be 8 hoplites in a manor, basically. I think. I can't remember. But basically, as long as you've got a nice supply of armor, I usually try to keep about 8 armor near this by getting warehouses, which is more than enough. So that's basically it. So, and another thing I'll mention is triremes. Okay, they're replaced by frigates in Poseidon. Triremes are one of the more annoying things in Zeus. As you'll remember, in Pharaoh, you had transport wharfs and warship wharfs, which produced transports and warships. The warships attacked the sea-bearing ships, the transports contained the people. Zeus does something similar, combines them both into one single thing called a trireme. Now, triremes are actually important in a lot of cases, and I try to build about... You're allowed 6. Okay, so if you can build the max of 6, good on you. But be careful. They consume 100 people. So you will need a hell of a lot of unemployment before you start building those. Which is why I tend to raise the wage rates up to a very high, because that's a good way of using up all the triremes, and then I can reduce the wage rate as needed. Or such, you know. Triremes are built by placing a trireme warp, which is in the military workshop. You just place them on a straight line coast. You can't really build them here, so it's not too big of a deal. So they require wood and armour. Okay, now, be aware, as I said, if you don't specifically need a trireme, but you need to build one, send the workers home, because then they won't be staffed. And in that way, your workers aren't wasted unnecessarily, because triremes do consume a hell of a lot of workers. As you can see here, 100 labour is needed. So if I staff this, I'll suddenly have 121, so there you go. So not staff it right now. The wood usually comes from imports or local, whatever, and armour you can get from imports or whatnot. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And of course you can build walls, gatehouses and all that. I'm not going to go through the invasion shit, it's the same sort of thing, just call them to arms, etc and etc. Now for elite housing, I will say this here. For elite housing, you need to have enough food, you need to have fleece and oil already in stock. And you have to keep them supplied or else they devolve. elite housing just requires armor, wine, horsemen, and good desirability to evolve fully. And they also need access to theatres. So whereas combat housing doesn't really need access to theatres and drama, you do need to provide them for mansions and elite housing. Okay. I don't think I'll get all of the parts up this week. I will have them up by probably the following week. I don't mind. So next is tutorial. So mythology. It's a good thing I stopped there because this is a really important part of Zeus. So as you remember, in Pharaoh, Caesar 3 and Emperor, you had gods, okay? And people needed access to the temples and the shrines and all that kind of shit for to evolve. Zeus does not require religion to evolve. Rather, what you have is you have gods who, you have some who are friendly and some who are hostile, and what they do is they just kind of wander around and give you benefits, okay? Now what you do is you build sanctuaries to them, and that allows them basically to confer those benefits constantly. So there's plenty of gods, I can't explain them all here, but for this one we're going to be building a sanctuary to Dionysus, who is the god of basically the vines, really. Which is the grove of Dionysus. So I'll go through the sort of the stages here with you. So to build a sanctuary, you need marble, and you need marble to place the thing, but you also need sculpture and wood to build the other parts, and artisans. So what we'll go and do is start quarrying. I'll just get this. I'll place this here. We're going to accept marble here. And of course we've got a nice little source of marble just down here, so we're going to put down hygiene and safety building right here, and we're going to go ahead and build masonry shop. So we'll just put down 1, 2 there, and I'll put down this, and I'll set this to accept 24 marble and 8 wood, because we don't need tons and tons of wood. So that's that, basically. So the sculptures, we can sell, say, like 2 sculptures at a time, because that's more than enough. So they'll go and start quarrying this. Of course, the city's been moved to a different location. As you can see, it's been put over this side rather than the other way around. So basically, the masons will go quarry the marble. If you remember in my Emperor Let's Play, you had the stone masons. They went out, quarried the marble, came back and made the stone and the stonework. So that's basically the same process here. So we'll just speed this up. And of course you'll get pointless warnings like that. I don't need to mention that too much. Their commemorative monuments are basically just to boost the appeal of the area. Very important around these mansions and that. So what I'm going to do is, since we've got the employment, I believe, yes, we'll just put down more of these, and I'll just cut a little space here to put down another timber mill. We want the marble to kind of flow, really. We'll just let this build up. So the Grove of Dionysus requires 8 marble and 400 drachma before we can place it.
I'm Dionysus, god of the vine. Worship me, and fruits of the vine will burst forth.
Yeah, you'll also be able to harvest grapes from my own vineyard, and all the vines in your city will yield more grapes. Okay, so Dionysus is useful if you need a huge amount of wine. Usually you don't. It's usually only for elite housing that you need the wine for. But Dionysus can be helpful. In some campaigns he's actually hostile to you, so that doesn't matter here. But we need 8 marble, that's all we need to get the thing done. But you do need more marble after that to build the rest of it. So as you can see, we've got the 8 marble now. So I'm going to just turn this to this direction, we're going to place it. So Grove of Dionysus is under construction. Without artisans you can't do anything. So this requires 31 slabs of marble, 12 loads of wood and 2 sculptures. Now, sometimes you can, if you're having trouble getting these resources, you can halt construction. It basically stops it being built. It's sort of simpler than just blocking in the staging area, which you used to do in Emperor and Pharaoh. So we just need to put down an Artisans Guild, which I believe is here. Usually about 3 or 4 artisans is more than enough, because they consume a lot of workers. They need 25 workers, so I'll just raise wage rates, that'll help. So now what the artisans will do, we'll go out onto here, and then the game will just start sending the resources as normal. So to complete this, all we need to do is build this. Now you need, the artisans will go cross country to get to the monument. However, the monument itself needs a road connection for the resources to be delivered. They won't go cross country for that because the labourers are not sent out. It's sort of like in Emperor. The resources will be sent out by the storehouse delivery men to the monument. So we'll just let this run. That's all you have to do, okay? Quarry marble or import it. A lot of the times you may have to import it. It's not available quarried. Wood you usually have to import. And sculptures again you have to import. So usually building a sanctuary is a long mission goal. Because usually one of the resources is not available on the map. Very rare, but it can happen. To avoid abuse, the game developers have made it so that each mission you can only build a certain number of sanctuaries, so you can't just build all the sanctuaries outright. Usually by the end of a campaign you will be able to build all of the sanctuaries. So just speed this up. And the things are requested in a very specific order, so just be aware of that. If you've got enough, it's not too much of a deal. No, you might click the wrong person here. So just these 12 slabs of wood, marble and some wood, that's all that matters. Some sanctuaries are smaller than others. Dionysus and Hephaestus are the smallest ones, I think. And then you've got Poseidon's and Zeus's, which are the massive ones, and usually they can't really be built that early on, they're more towards the end. You have to be careful about which sanctuaries you build because it's got to be dependent on what benefits you want from them. So if you're on a militaristic campaign, then building Ares will be more of use to, say, building Dionysus, for example. So it's one of those ones where you had to kind of weigh up the odds. Build the ones that are going to benefit you. Don't just build ones just because you like that god. Build the ones that are actually going to help for the campaign, otherwise it's a waste of time. Just need some marble and then we're done. Now go to the Grove of Dionysus is complete. And basically, they have other passive effects. So let's just read this one. He has planted fruitful vines near a sanctuary. So Dionysus Sanctuary is useful on maps where you can't get wine. So let's say you're on a mission and there's no wine to be grown and you can't import it. The Dionysus Grove is very useful because then it means you get a supply of wine. And in some missions, you actually do need it to win at all, so be aware of that. And the Great God's presence has put everyone in the city in a good mood. The residents will never rise or commit crimes. So basically, no one will. You don't need watchtowers. In fact, I have never completed a mission with needing watchtowers. You don't ever need them in the Zeus campaign at all, unlike in Emperor. It also means that he'll just keep spawning and it'll be happy as lie. So building these, as you can see, now spawns. Here he is. Let's see if we can click on him. Friendly god, yeah. Some gods are friendly, some are basically, they don't like you. Yeah, so basically, adventures in Zeus are episodic, so you'll usually build one parent city and then maybe go off and do colonies. I'll explain colonies later, so let's proceed. This is episode 2, so let's just read this properly. So, the gods of Greece have their own agenda and rarely get along with one another. Whatever adventure you undertake, some gods will support your efforts while others will seek to thwart you. Those on your side, like Dionysus, will periodically appeal to you for worship. You don't have to worship, okay? You only need to do that if you really need a boost, but I've gone through most of the campaign without needing to worship. I usually do it if I really need a certain bonus. So those who oppose you obviously will not make their presence known unless you do so to offend them. Sanctuaries needs regular sacrifices to function so its god can appear in the city, walk the streets and sanctify certain buildings. Each god also provides other benefits. For example, at Dionysus Sanctuary, you can grow grapevines which can be turned into wine You can also pray to Dionysus for it. You'll need some growers to tend the grapevines at the sanctuary, so yes, what can happen is that in a mission you may not have a grower's lodge available, but as soon as you build, say, the one is Athena and Dionysus, that'll become available just for that particular purpose. Now, there are monsters and heroes, so Sometimes you may find that a monster will show up that you can't get rid of with just a regular god. Sometimes it can actually happen if you're just bloody lucky, but you will need to build halls to certain gods who you have to be requested to come in. So, let's see. Yeah, so gods versus gods. Sometimes you may have an enemy god come into the city. Only another god stronger than that god will be able to defeat him. So let's say Poseidon comes to attack. He will attack in this tutorial, but I won't let that happen. And only Zeus can conquer Poseidon, but of course we can't build his sanctuary here. But I'm not bothered by that. So let's just build some... let's see, where is it? Ah, here it is. Growers Lodge. So we can build some Growers Lodges here, and then build winery. I'm just going to put down another one of these just here because it's a bit far. So if I just put if I just delete this, and then if I put the storehouse, this can be for armor. And this can be set to accept wine, so it's 16 wine. I'll just get this armored over. I'll just speed this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so of course these are going to go out of 10 to that stuff, so yeah. Right, so Cyclops is all I think I've ever encountered on this tutorial mission. And he'll just go around killing all your goats and sheep basically. So you have to call Odysseus. So I'll let that happen, of course. Usually you don't get warning for it. It's usually in the story plot thing at the beginning where it tells you that that's going to happen. Now the sanctuaries do consume workers, be aware of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn off marble and wood. We don't need those industries in this city, so let's get rid of them. Which helps. So as you can see, Dionysus is blessing all of these things, which means that they will be better off. Cyclops attacks in 4 months. Okay, so Odysseus, as soon as you get warning that you're going to have to deal with a god, you can build a hero's hall. These are only per level, so if you do a continuation mission, this will disappear. So what we have to do is simply place down this. Now, they do require certain things. So, the hero's hall for Odysseus requires great popularity, which is easy enough. Excellent citywide health, so that's easy enough to get, just make sure everyone's covered by infirmary. 32 jugs of olive oil, you do need a full storage yard of that. It needs 16 and 40 of wine, okay? I'm not going to actually summon them, but I'll explain what it needs. And 8 elite houses, basically that means you need to place down 8 elite houses. So let's just do, I know how to calculate, so let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. That allows us to put down 2 here. So this is how I do it. I usually do it like this because this is the most appealing. And of course I won't be able to put down any more, so I'll just put down. Let's see, that's 1. This is 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So just do that. Then I'll garden up the back bit here. 1, 2, 3. And then there's a bit of space we need here. So now we've got 1, 2, 3. Now an elite house has to count that it's actually got people in it. Okay, so there we go, we've got 5 elite houses now. I'm not actually going to try and summon Odysseus, but I'll just explain what happens really. Cyclops attacks, fine. Now a house, you don't get bonus points for having them evolved. It's just literally a plot. Okay. Hi to Kid and Lord who's in chat. How are you doing today? Okay. There you go. So he'll just stand around there bashing everyone up, basically causing disruption. So I just need to place down this stuff now, I think. I think in this case I'm just going to place down gazebos around the outer edge just to spam them. Just to try and get the desirability that I need. Let's just see if I can place this here. Yeah. Let's go ahead and put down some gardens here. This will probably do. So just get these placed down, and that's more than enough. Megara says blood for the blood god, that's so true. So there's 6, 7, and 8. So assuming we can get more amphorae of wine, I think what I might do is just quickly stockpile wine to boost it. And okay, he has decided to come into here and cause damage. Yeah, he does cause a hell of a lot of damage, and he may start targeting random people for no reason. So yeah, when enemy monsters in the city, it is a right arse, basically. So this building's been blessed. A blessed building basically means it produces 4 amphorae of wine regardless. And random gods can try to help, but they do nothing more than just cause problems, really. So there we go, 16 amphorae of wine. Let's go ahead and send for Odysseus, which, when you send for a god, a hero in this case, it will cause them to empty everything that's in there for them. So just be aware of that.
The world-renowned Odysseus, King of Ithaca, is here.
Yes, he is. So he'll go. What he does is he goes all the way up to his hero's hall, then does his thing. So we'll just watch this quickly. So as you can see, Odysseus will win. There's no way for the Cyclops to actually do anything. And these were days, so I'll just replace these. So there you go. Odysseus has won. There you go. That's a carving shed, so let's just put down 2 dairies. And I'll just replace all the destroyed goats. Like this. And all the destroyed sheep. Like this, there we go. Might as well just go ahead and put down another carving shed. So that's basically how Zeus mythology works. And a lot of the missions in Zeus are like that, basically. So just be aware of it. Now, I'm not going to stick around to wait for Thingy to turn up, but you get the idea. And once a hero has been summoned, he stays there for the rest of that mission, but obviously if you go to the next mission, that's gone. Well, there we go.
And I shall make the sea your enemy too.
That music just creeps me out all the time. Okay, so yeah. So we just go ahead and look. So he'll come in here in the sea, and basically he'll destroy coastal buildings, curse them, or do such, okay? So I'm not going to stand around for too much longer. I'm just going to get on to the next tutorial. That means just going to keep playing it. So, colonies. This is the main thing that's important about Zeus. From time to time you may have to play an alternate mission that's not the parent city to build a colony. Usually it's to help you in some way. So all we have to do is produce 8 amphorae of wine for the colony and make sure we have 8 in stock. So I think we have to oh no, we can plant grapevines. So all we have to do is somewhere on this map, here's better than anywhere, just pause that, there, sorry. Okay, and what I'll do is I will put a maintenance office here. Now I tend to do grapevines like in columns like this because it's much better that way. So that'll be. Is that too? No, that's fine. I tend to make things look realistic. anything. And I just want to see how far this walker will go. He goes all the way down to the edge, so that's fine. So I'm going to put down, let's put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wineries. I'll put down 1, 2, 3, 4 growers' lodges. And we'll just go ahead and put down a storehouse to accept wine, which should be more than enough. So they'll go up and tend to the grapevines here. And yeah, so all I have to do is tend to the grapevines. Now of course I would love to put this closer, but I want to make sure that this is all close enough to this area, which will need access to wine soon. So all we have to do is stockpile 8 amphorae of wine, which is a fairly simple business, is it not? Just grow the vines, and then yeah. So of course a little bit down here is gone, and doesn't matter. So that's producing the grapes now. Now of course with this we're producing far too many grapes, so what I'm going to actually do, I've already got enough, but what I'm going to do is just to use it some unemployment, I'm just going to put down another winery or 2. Maybe I'll just raise wage rates to compensate, so that's fine. You might sometimes get surpluses, but that's okay. Wine is also a good export, I should say that. Wine is a decent export to have. It sells for 160 drachma. So it's one of the top ranges. Usually, wherever possible, try to sell wine, sculpture and armour. Olive oil, you can sell if you're okay with it, but I find it tends to run out very quickly when you do that. It doesn't grow as fast as wine, so you will find you probably have shortages. So let's just go to build up. So there we go, we've got our 8 amphorae of wine, we've got 10. So all you have to do is, when you've got that goal, all you have to do is go to the goals section and just set aside, and that'll disappear immediately. That's going to result in us having to set up a colony, but I'll have to do that in another part because time is my enemy again. So we're going on to the colony mission now in this tutorial. So we have to build the colony of Halicarnassos. So normally you'd have more than one site to choose from when to establish a colony, but here only Halicarnassos is available, of course. Okay, so let's go to this location. So all I have to do is produce 16 sheaves of wheat for the parent city, 8 bars of bronze, and have 100 people in an apartment. So let's just go there. So let's have a look. So the farming land's here, and there's some silver and copper, I think it's just up here. Yes, there's some copper up here and a little bit of silver, and our farmland is here. So we've only got wheat fields, so I'm going to put out wheat fields, and I'm going to have my house, 2 housing blocks here, thereabout. May have less than that, it's not too big of a deal. There is an invasion later on into this one, so just be aware of that. Just put that out like that. We just put out our and do this. This will be just planning out my housing block. So what I do is I do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the costs are a bit messed up because I'm on beginner difficulty in this tutorial, but if I was playing this properly this wouldn't be the case, so I'm just going to drag this road down like this, just to have a second block if I need it. So we just put, that can be a storehouse. Right, we're gonna do the storehouse stuff with wheat, just so we can produce plenty of that here. So let's just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we do that, that'll just be for there. And then we'll do another one there. And a granary just here, which is to get wheat. Okay. We'll just unpause. Oops, I think this is running too fast yet. I'm also going to actually do the second block. Oops. I'll do that in a minute. In terms of money making, you don't have to worry because this is on beginner, so it's not important to try and be fancy with this. I might as well go ahead and put down the 2 agoras like so. If I planned out everything, this would be in alignment, but it's okay. Let's go ahead and raise wage rates to very high. And since we've got the opportunity to do so, I'll just do 3, 4, 5, 6. So now don't be fooled by the fact that some tufts of just empty land like this are darker green. This is not Meadowland. Meadowland is of course purple, as I've said before. It's just that sometimes in some missions you may find that this might look like Meadowland, but it's actually not in any way at all. So just don't be fooled by that. Just put that there. Just go ahead and put parks. What I tend to do is I tend to build 2 blocks if I've got the funds. If I don't have the funds, I'll just go with 1 block, or I just waste the money on a second block. But I try to at least build 2 blocks and then evolve 1 at a time and just start and have extra workers because it's much easier that way. We're going to put down the palace just here. And we'll just go ahead and put tax offices in each of the blocks like so. They make a little bit of money. So we've got the space to handle more workers, so we'll just speed this up quickly. Let's got some unemployment, that's perfect. Now let's have a look at our industry. We've got mint and foundry. So the mint produced is needed to make money. It's like sort of like a portable money maker. Mints strings of cash or drachma from the silver. So 3 mints. It's not like an emperor where you have only 1 mint and it's bronze that it uses and later the money printer. But we'll have this set up just for now. I'm going to put this down here, which is going to just accept bronze, and I'll put down 2 of these. Actually, I'll just delete that since it's just a bit far. Bronze. We'll just have 2 of those, that'll be fine. So once these fields are fully harvested, then we will be able to continue on. So we'll just speed this up. And I do believe there's a request. Ah, there we go. Megara suffers a famine, so what we'll do is we'll just stockpile wheat to meet that request. Just run this along. We'll turn off the bronze industry, we don't need that right this minute. I'm not going to put in more houses than is needed for this because that's not important right now. How long have we got for that? 13 months, that's okay. I think this will harvest soon. Let's see. It's June, July, so this will harvest shortly and we will make our food. Yeah, you're going to get your 6 crates of food. There you go. And Megara, take the food. There. And we can stop the stockpile wheat now because we don't need to do that. We'll just provide food to 1 block like so. And we might as well go ahead and put down the gymnasium in each of these blocks like so. And we'll put down a college as well. With a podium and that. The podium is like the the podium is sort of like the booth in that from Pharaoh. You've got your juggler school and then your booth basically. So for common housing, well, I did say this before in the video. For common housing, you require access to the, and ignore that, I'll just talk about this in a minute. Common housing requires access to podiums, so philosophers and gymnasiums, whatever they are, athletes, as a minimum. For the top level housing, you just need to provide access to actors or competitors. Actors come from drama schools, which you don't really need to provide, so that's theatres. But what I tend to provide is at least the competitors, because that's just a stadium, and you're only allowed 1 stadium, so that means you don't have to provide theatre access to many people. In this city we don't have access to that, so it's okay. We've got space for 250 more people, which is okay. So we probably won't need this block, but that's alright. We'll go ahead and put down this in each of the blocks just to make sure everyone's kept happy. Now I think we can trade... Oh no, we can't trade with someone. So to get the... No, we don't have trading posts. So we're trading with Mantinea and Megara. Now Megara does sell as fleece, but we can't trade. So that means we have to make the requests for fleece. So what I'm going to do is just put down a storehouse just here to accept fleece. And I believe I'll also need one for olive oil. Now let me just check. Yes, so Mantinea we need to keep happy, I think, because they sell us olive oil. I'll wait for that. So what I'll probably do is evolve this one block here. We'll just speed this up, try to get the workers in. And once the workers start to come in, I will boost the number of jobs in this city. Megara loves us fine. So we've got to produce some bars of bronze and have some wheat, so that's okay. Got space for some more people, and we'll just set up the bronze industry. In fact, let's just put down 2 more of these and just boost the supply of bronze in the city. We'll just try and get as much as we can. Enemy is launching an invasion. We can't fight this invasion. If you look at the goals, there is a thing saying you will probably be invaded. Yeah. I'm not going to bother with asking allies. In fact, I have won this. I've won all of the campaigns in Zeus without asking for assistance from anyone else, so you don't need it. Bribe or just keep trying and you'll win. So you don't have to do too much. Okay. So when the invasion comes around, it is a water invasion, of course. But I will just bribe them away. There we go, we can bribe 450 drachma. There we go, gone. Okay. Just have a look on the map. There they are. Yeah, unfortunately, unlike in, say, Pharaoh and that, they don't just disappear. No. It's not like an Emperor where they just disappear. They stay around and float from entry point to an exit point. Which is kind of annoying, but no. Oh, gift of wine from Megara. That is perfect. Because what I'm going to do is set this up to accept wine and olive oil. Because we will need olive oil. So go ahead and put down this. Now it says you can put down arms and wine vendors, don't bother. That's just the game engine reacting. So let's just accept that gift of wine. And Mantinea can get a gift of wine. We'll give them 8 amphorae of wine at a time. We'll try and get their opinion of us up, because that's important. So we need 103 more workers. So let's go ahead and start boosting this little area here just to provide them with food. Let's see, congenial. Let's give another gift of wine, and then we can start request. In fact, let's just go ahead and request skins of fleece. There we go. If we can get both blocks up, that'll be fine. There's the fleece. And let's just go ahead and requisition jugs of oil. We're going to need that. So this has got us up to tenants. I think that's the highest level we can go. No, we've got one more level to go. So I think what I might do is just destroy this food shop. We don't need to provide them with food. And in fact, if we get enough workers, I may delete this housing block entirely if we can get enough from there. This is more like it's just a surplus, really. High unemployment is a problem, so let's just reduce the wage rates. Of course, we're still getting people coming in, so what I'm going to do is olive oil. There we go. So I'm going to start deleting some of these houses like so. Because we don't need that much housing in this city now. Because this housing block is starting to get there. So we'll go ahead and put down the oil vendor, like so. What was this? Is this a glitch? Oh, it's an Agora vendor who's glitched, okay. Oh, I like that. Glitch. Housing goal has been met, that's perfect. So I don't think we'll need this housing area anymore, but I'll just let the people flow into here and then we'll start deleting this housing area. There we go, just let that run. And then we've got a victory monument I could be using, just to boost the appeal of the neighbourhood. And now that we've got all this housing up, we don't need any of this, so let's just delete this housing block now. That was always a temporary one. In this particular colony mission, I just build a temporary one because it helps to boost employment for the early burst that you need. So this little colony is more than enough, one housing block. We don't need any more than this. Let's see if I've got anything else to build. No. That's fine. I'll just build a couple more mints and a couple more... Actually, let's just build one foundry and delete one mint. There we go. Okay, so we're finished with this colony mission. Let's just go ahead. I'll just take a save. Because why not? And yeah, set aside. And set aside. That's it gone. So usually I produce more than enough wheat, and usually when it comes to missions that have wheat available in them, I do the storage yard to granary getting technique, just simply because I know I produce far more than this, and it means I've got a central distribution area that they can just get from. Usually they fill it up anyway, but that's okay. So we've got a glitch here. This Dorcos is an Agora vector who's glitched out when I deleted the vending thingy. Okay, so we've established a private colony at Halicarnassos, which is it. Megara has a source of wheat and bronze. So we've got to support 4 horsemen. Okay. Now when you complete colony missions, you will get that colony monument at the start, so you can put this anywhere you want to boost desirability. So we now need to evolve these to support 4 horsemen. Now to do that requires that we import wheat and bronze from Halicarnassos, which is a good purpose to building that trading city. So we need to go ahead and start planning that out, and horsemen are built from horses, of course, so we need the horse ranch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down the pier for Halicarnassos right there, and we're going to import wheat and bronze. So we're going to import, say, 12 wheat and 8 bronze. And what we're going to do is put a storehouse up here for accepting armour. And I think we've got to get a source. Yeah, we've got a source of wine. Sorry, it's right here. So let's just go ahead and put down the Agora for arms, since it's going to be needed. And we'll also put down the one for wine. Now you're probably going to need more workers, and this block isn't going to really provide the number of workers that are needed. So you may find that you have to raise wage rates or cut back on things like this if needed to support it. Okay, so we're going to just delete some little squares of housing here. I'll just go ahead and put down extra common housing because it won't be affected too much. Now, is there a tax collector in here? There is no tax collector, so we're not making money from taxes. So let's go ahead and put down this. Now we need to put down a horse ranch, and we're going to put the horse ranch right here. The wheat will go into the horse ranch and it'll produce horses. One horse ranch can hold up to 8 horses. There are some goals that require you to support a certain number of horses in the city, so you do need to be aware of that. I don't think this guy reaches the whole distance. Let's just find out. No, he doesn't. So I'm going to put a extra one of these up here, and I'm going to roadblock here and here. And what we'll do is we will put down the armory. 2 armories are more than enough. for this. We don't need tons. Let's put a colony monument. That is a park. Let's get rid of the park and replace it with this, because this is more desirable. And I'll keep... And these things, as I said, have a huge amount of appeal. So I mean, this is very appealing just by this being here. So it actually negates something like an infirmary being negative. So this is why I try to use these more than parks. I use parks in the centre to make it look nice, but I use commemorative monuments around the side. And they do stack. So if you keep getting monuments for, say, like diplomatic or victory, you can place them over and over for each victory you have. Which is pretty decent. Now, I don't think we need this much bronze, so we're just going to scale back on our bronze imports. And yeah, so we've got our first manor here. So I'm going to get all of these up, I think. I don't think we need the whole lot. Oh, and Mantineer sells more olives, that's good. Now, what I tend to do is I don't start supplying horses to houses until this is all stable. So once this is stable, then we will be fine. And then we have something that looks unnecessary. So I'm just going to roadblock there and delete this. I want to just see the walking distance of this guy. I want to see if he reaches the whole distance. Yes, he sort of does. So what we can do is we can cut down on some of the walk this is going by moving this to here and delete that. Culture can go there, and the college can go right at the end there. So this will mean he will reach the whole distance if we just speed this up. So now he reaches all the way down to there. By just taking out that 2 tile length, he's now able to reach the bottom. So that's what I tend to do. I try to, for my elite blocks, make sure that they... Well, I don't obviously design them like this. What I tend to do is if I just waste some fun. I don't think I can do it here on this map, but in the Let's Play I'll show you how I do my elite blocks, because my elite blocks are just the right amount. Because you don't need tons of elite houses, usually about 4 or 8. If necessary, 12 elite houses is at most all you need. So we'll just speed this up and get this running. Oh, there's a happiness monument, so I'm just going to put this happiness monument right here just to boost desirability of our elite housing. I always use two monuments in my elite blocks, which is more than enough at hard difficulty of Titan. So as you can see, we've got some horses here, so now we've got the ability to now put down the horse trainer. So the horse trainer works exactly the same as the armor vendors. They just go and supply they just go and get their horses and bring them back. That's all they do. I'm actually going to increase bronze just because I need more armor. Making armor from imported bronze is a little tough, I will say. But it's usually doable, as long as you don't export. So we've got an estate with 4 horses in it, so that's just done. So an estate's a top level housing, so that's just done. There. Peace and war. Okay, so this is the main other thing, is in some missions you will be asked to conquer other cities and make them vassals. Now this is not so important for most missions, but usually towards the end of a campaign you will be asked to conquer. And there is one thing about trade and all that in this game. You can't trade with rivals, it is impossible. The game doesn't permit you to trade. And unlike in like Pharaoh, Caesar Fleet and later Emperor, you can't request to open trade. Trade can only be conducted with vassals or allies, or if an event happens that allows it to be available for trade. But most of the time it will be vassals and allies that you trade with. That's all you can do. So if you want to trade with someone, you have to conquer them or get them to an ally state. But allies are usually event based. Yeah, it says, as it says here, subjects and colonies you have established your vassals you acquired through conquest. So Vassals can be both colonies and people you've conquered, okay? Allies are people who'll help you, keep them happy, and they'll keep helping you. Rivals, they just don't like you. Blah blah blah. So here in this case, you've got to conquer a city. So all we have to do is conquer Nemea. And if you look carefully, you will see the icons. It's not easy to see on Zeus, easy to see on Emperor. But the little brown icon, this one here, is the amount of shields it's got, sorry. And the more shields it's got, the more you're going to have to keep attacking it to whittle it down, so it won't fall easily. The silver coins mean the amount of money it's got, so of course if it's got lots of silver coins, if it's got a high stack, that means it will develop its military very quickly. If it's got a very low stack, that means it will take a very long time for it to develop its military. In some missions, you will find that certain cities will not be able to be conquered straight away. You have to wait until an event lowers them. Or you may find that they are designed to be conquered in some way. So all we need to do is conquer Nemea, which is not going to be too difficult. How many people do we have? So we've got 6 hoplites, which is not enough, okay? We need more than this. Let's just get rid of this little bit here, block. It's done this again, so I'm going to just sort this quickly. Just to make sure everything's hunky-dory with my city. Like so. Okay, so let's see, they need access to wine, so I need to provide... Oh, we've got wine here. So what I'm going to do is actually put a road out like this, and I'm going to just roadblock it there. And roadblock it there. And I think what we need to do is put more growers' lodges in. So let's go ahead and just put... That is a carding shed. So we've got everything kind of in an awkward way. So I'm going to disconnect it this way, because we don't need people going this way at all. And we're going to boost winery production because we need more wine. We'll just boost employment. So we're making some arms, not much. So we need to import more bronze in this, and we need to be importing more wheat. So let's just import 8 wheat. And now we've got the ability to do so. Let's go ahead and put down more armories just to boost armor production. We want to have as much armory as arms as possible. So I couldn't see the words properly there. So I'll just do this. I tend to like rearranging some of the tutorial maps because they're kind of shitty. So we don't have much money on this map actually, so we need to sell sculpture, I think. So Mantineer will buy sculpture. We're going to stop selling wine because the wine is too far away and we need to really be using it to boost the city. So we're going to sell sculptures instead. So let's actually just delete that. Let's set this to 12 of that and 4 sculpture. Yeah. That should be fine. So we'll go ahead and put down 2 sculpture studios and start selling sculptures. So I'll just sell the 4 that we've got for the wine just to make sure it doesn't have any issues. And we'll stop selling that. So we'll now sell sculpture. We'll sell 4 sculpture at a time because we can't sell enough of anything else. Which anyone else? Oh, we can sell fleece. We've got a big supply of fleece, so let's just sell 8 out. I don't think we have... Oh, I do have a source of olive oil. What I'm going to do is also sell 4 olive oil. Just to try and boost our quotas a little bit here, because we do need to make some money. And I want to try and get somewhere with this, so... I'll just let this build up. I'll just boost that to very high. Just run this along. There we go. I continue to make money, which is the main thing. Mantineer buys more sculpture, that's perfect. So of course we have to keep selling sculpture, don't we? Now what I'm going to do is we're going to start boosting our elite housing because we need to do that. So we're going to put down this, and we're also going to go ahead and just put down the horse trainer straight away. Oh, and Mantinea needs some sculpture. Let's just stop selling sculpture and send them the free. Now the reason I had to turn this off to stop selling is because once it's marked as selling, it's not counted as in the city. If you want to dispatch something that's in a trading post, just tell it to stop selling and it'll be fine. So we sold out our fleece and olive oil, which is okay. I don't know why there's gardens around this. Let's just delete the gardens. And what we're going to do is we're importing olives, so let's just go ahead and boost olive oil production like so, and just get it going. Oh, Mantinea needs more sculpture, that's not too good. And there we go, we've got elite housing. And there's the sculpture ready for Mantinea. Let's just go ahead and set it. Halicarnassus begs for fleece. That is whittled us out of fleece. That means we're going to have to stop selling that now for a little bit. Just bring that. What I tend to do is switch between, if I need to boost supply or something, I'll get it out of the trading piers and put it in. This water fountain is not working as effectively as it should be, so let's just move it down. Why is these podiums thingied up like that? Let's put this here, and let's move the podium here. So we've got an elite housing. It's not going to work out very well on this map, but that's okay. So what I'll do is I'll just temporarily put in some extra housing like this, just to help boost everything up. This is more than enough. I wouldn't normally do this on most missions, so it's okay. So just speed this up, get the housing going again. And I can reduce wage rates. So as you can see, we've got some things happening here. I'm just going to wall this in just to try and boost desirability. It's not really necessary because as you can see, these things are up to maximum level anyway. So we are not making as much money as we should be. Don't think we've got a request. Nope, let's keep selling sculpture. Like so, just get it sold. Mantinea loves us, that's okay. So we've got how many horsemen? Let's just have a quick look. We have 12 horsemen, which is, I think, more than enough to conquer Nemea. So I'm just going to save. You'll wonder why I'm saving before I do certain things. The reason I save is if it turns out really badly, then I've got somewhere to reload. If something glitches, I can reload and just ignore the request. That's why. So if we just go and send the 12 things to thingy it. Now you can also send one ally or subject to help. Okay, so we can send troops from Halicarnassus. And I did say you can send one other city. You can send a huge force if needed. If you're trying to conquer cities with lots of shields on it, right? I strongly recommend sending as many horsemen as you can, as much of your navy as you can, maybe a hero, maybe mythical warriors, and at least an ally or vassal, okay? The more you send, the quicker they'll be part of you. Of course, obviously if they have 6 or so shields, they won't be bowing down immediately, but you will knock off a considerable number of shields, okay? In some missions you may need to conquer cities with a huge number of shields, so be aware of that. We're just going to send off these troops. Now, when you send troops from allies or vassals, their opinion of you plummets, so make sure that their opinion of you is high before you use them as a bargaining chip. So in this case, if they're philanthropic, just send them anyway, because you won't see the difference. It says it's been suspended for some reason. I think it's a glitch. There goes the horseman. That's what Mantinea is, and the stuff off. I'll just delete these things here and build a happiness monument right there, which will keep everyone happy. Oh, a gift of olive oil from Mantinea, so we can sell more. That's perfect. Now I think Mia will come down from the ships that I've sent. So as you can see, they're loyal. So I'm going to give Halicarnassos a gift of olive oil. Now, olive oil you might think would be a very wealthy item. It's not. Olive oil does not actually boost the favour as much as something like wine or sculpture. Wine in particular is what I tend to like using, unless there's something else I can use. Wine boosts them really high, with medium gifts being able to get them right up really high. Olive oil doesn't do as much in my opinion. So all we have to do is wait for Nemea to become a vassal. Halicarnassos begs for fleece. Now, how many carding sheds have we got? We've got... This is a carding shed here that I need to get rid of. So let's just put this road like this, and I will delete some tiles here. And I'm going to roadblock there, and we're going to put down an extra carding shed just there. It's not really necessary because it isn't. There we go. And if I just... Ah, there we go. Nemea's been conquered. There we go. We're done the tutorials. So all this last map does is basically shows you the kind of things that you have to do. So I'm not really going to go into detail because a lot of the things that are in this are really things that I've also told you and things that I'll tell you, of course, across the course of this Let's Play. So as you can see, we have a number of shrines in here. So this is a properly built city. As you can see, it's got 2,200. Now I would build a city like this, okay? I would never build a city in a sprawling mess like this, but we've got Ares Fortress, the Oracle of Apollo. I might as well just mention this. The Oracle of Apollo, and I think on Zeus's stronghold as well, if you consult the Oracle, it can actually tell you about requests that are about to come up, or things that are about to happen. So if you want, you could just pray to the Oracle or consult it, and it will tell you if there's a request that's going to come up. You can fulfill it well before it's supposed to happen. And it's actually kind of useful, that, because then you can prepare for it long before it happens. And I've got our groves here. Now, I would never do this, so don't... Some of the things that are done on this, I would never do myself. I sort of would do this, but I would always do it before. I wouldn't do it in this style, though. So there are things that I sort of do that are in this, but there are things like this. I would never spam fish ponds, gardens and all that kind of crap because it just looks stupid and it doesn't look realistic. So this is the kind of city you may build. But for my Let's Play, I will not build cities like this. I tend to build them as one central district. So I'd like to build city centres almost. So I try to make sure that everyone's supplied by a city centre. So everything, all the resources that I need are in one location and they're not spread across the map. I don't like doing that because it's not efficient. And of course most maps don't require that. So that's the tutorial of Zeus and Poseidon. I hope it was helpful. Now of course when we go into the main Let's Play I will explain a hell of a lot more about events, planning and all that kind of shit. So the tutorial is just a taste of what you're going to see next month. Next month in January I will start the Zeus and Poseidon Let's Play. And we will be doing Zeus first, the Zeus Master of Olympus. So what I'm going to do, because Zeus and Poseidon are two separate games almost in one game, I'll have a playlist for all Zeus Master of Olympus missions and I'll have one playlist for all Poseidon Master of Atlantis missions. So they'll be two fundamentally separate even though it's on the same game engine. So, in the first proper part, I will go on to the first campaign, Zeus and Europa. Thanks for watching this video guys, I hope it was helpful. If you've got any other things you want to ask me about the tutorial, please leave a note in the comments and I'll try to help. Otherwise, I will see you in the first part for Zeus and Europa. Bye now.